Hi, I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, and I am so glad you've come to this video. If you're wanting to learn how to work with tracing bitmaps in the Vectric software, you're going to learn how to do that here. We're going to take simple designs and we're going to trace it from an image, and then we're going to take like a real picture of a person, me actually, and some other things, and I'm going to show you how to work with images as well, the stuff that's a lot more complex. I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but you will know exactly how to work with bitmaps by the time this video is done. If you're brand new to CNC routers or the Vectric software, then you want to subscribe to this channel because I teach all that basic stuff. In fact, if you are not using the Vectric software, but you use other software, the principles are all the same in what I teach. And I talk about some of the other resources you can use if your software doesn't have bitmap trace features. So, with that, let's just dive in, start learning about bitmaps. So by the time you're done at the end of this video, you can go to your software and start doing this. So let's dive in. Okay, so we are in Vectric, and you can do this in Aspire, Vcarve Pro, and Vcarve Desktop. So we're going to do a couple of bitmap traces here, just so you get the feel for what you can do and some of the limitations. We'll start off with a simple one, and then we'll do something from like an image or something. We'll see how that one goes. This will give you an overall feel. So what we're going to do is create a project, and the size will be 24 by 24 by 0.75. I'm just going by a large size. Going to go off the top of the material and the center. I'm going to do standard here. Just so you know, one of the things I forgot in one of my other videos that a couple of people have reminded me of, when you're doing 3D model projects, you want to get this set to high or very high. So just make sure you do that when you're doing 3D models. Okay, we're going to say okay. And by the way, the person who has said that, I want to make sure that I give him a shout out. He does have a YouTube channel, and I actually have to go find it. So I'm going to go find this and give somebody some credit before we dive into this thing. So I just got to find his stuff first. So I got to bounce through my YouTube and get him up there. Okay, it's getting really close. Just get ready. I will put a link to his channel as well. So Michael Mazalik. Michael Mazalik. And let's see if we can find his channel. We're going to click that. And there is his channel. Michael Mazalik. Take note of that. He does some pretty cool Vcarve stuff, very unusual stuff. He is very well versed in this, so you will get some good stuff off of his channel. Okay, with that, let's get back into the Vectric and do some bitmap tracing. All right, we are doing the beginner's level stuff. Okay, so we're going to go find a bitmap, and here's how I go about this. If I want something simple, like a swirl or something, I will go into Google. So let's go into Google. And we will do a swirl drawing. We'll see how that comes up. And go to images. And then you'll get a bunch of images here. Now, one of the things I like to do is make sure that I get high definition images or large images, as opposed to some of these, just they're small, they don't have a lot of detail to them when it comes to the depth of the bitmap. Like a small image size, small pixels, it can make it hard. So what you want to do is go to Tools and Size and click Large. And you'll get much larger images. So let's just pick out this swirl right here. I'm going to click it, and that looks pretty clean. So there's a couple ways you can do this. Number one is you can use your snipping tool if you have a PC. Just do a search for snipping tool. Very easy, simple tool to use. Launch it, select new. It'll open up into a window, and all you have to do is just grab the item like that. and then save it as whatever you want to save it as, and it'll save in your downloads folder or whatever directory you have selected. So I'm going to select downloads and say swirl 1, we'll call it, and hit enter. So now I have that image, I can import that, but I don't want to go this route. What I'd rather do is get the image in its high definition. So what I'll do is I'll right click on the image and save the image as. And now it'll go to downloads folder and it'll give it a name, and you can rename it as you wish. Save. And now we have the image. Now, it's one of the things you'll find sometimes when you'll install that, not all the images are compatible with the Vectric software. It may not be a JPEG, maybe some kind of completely different format. Then we'll go back into the Vectric software and go to the import bitmap under file operations. Click that, go to the folder or the directory where that image is at, and we are going to get the unnamed one. That's the one that we installed when we saved the images, not through the snipping tool. I'll select that, and it still comes in kind of small, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we are now going to select that image and go to the Trace Bitmap feature under Create Vectors. Right over here. Select that, and then Vectric, you have two options here. You can work with color or you can work with black and white. I am not going to go through color here. That is tedious. We will probably have to go through that in the second example. Right now we're going to do black and white. Right here is a slider, and that's going to increase the density threshold of your image. Now you see if I zoom up, it looks a little rough. That's inconsequential at the moment. What I want you to see is that when I bring the slider to the right, it adds more body until the image is basically gone. If I go way to the left, it's going to dissolve it more and more until there's very little left. So you want to either let the software pick its own or just go with that. Now, one of the things with this image, let's go back to it. I'm going to cancel this for a minute because I want to show you. I got a little bit of a sniffle today. You see the image itself is a bit gray in the background, so that is causing a little bit of issue with the Trace Bitmap feature. The best ones are the ones that have a solid white background. All right, so we're going to go back into Trace Bitmap. I am going to take this, select that image, move the slider down a little bit, check that I have all my swirl in here, which I do. It looks a little grainy right here, so we're going to up that. And it's grainy because there's a bit of a reflection in the image there. So I'm just going to up it a little bit until I get more of that body in there. Now you see what's happening up here. So you're just going to have to dance around with it to get this to work. We'll probably have to patch this up. Now you have various little features down in here. And one is the fit, loose fit and tight fit. If you are over a tight fit, you're going to get a bunch of straight lines. It's not going to look good. Let me show you what I mean. I'm just going to leave all the other settings, and we're going to do preview. And you can see that it's basically a point. It goes in a sharp corner, it turns into a line. I can't select node right now, can I? No. And so it's not very clean. So what you want to do is adjust it to a looser one. I may have messed this up by selecting that. I did. So I'm going to cancel that. Go back into, I'm going to Control Z to undo it because the lines are still there. Go back into Trace Bitmap. And we're going to do a preview again with the settings. Now we're going to do this. We're going to bring the fit all the way up. We have to select the image, and we're going to click that. And so now it's all just a bunch of lines. Now I want you to take a look and watch this area right here. right up in here. Watch this particular line. What I'm going to do is take that fit and slide it down quite a ways. I'm going to take it all the way the other way and hit preview again. And now you see it turned into a smooth line. So that's what the fit does. It basically eliminates a number of nodes or adds a number of nodes. Simplifies the whole thing. Now the next one is the noise filter. Okay, so that's if you have something that's got a lot of activity in it. It will tone it down as far as the number of nodes. And something like this, I would keep the noise filter a little bit low. I want to keep the pretty much the noise that's going to be in here. Now noise would be nodes. I'll show you that in a moment. And then the bitmap fading, which I don't really mess with much, so I can't give you a whole lot. If someone would comment a little bit about that, I don't want to fiddle with that and experiment in a video, so we're just going to kind of pass that off. I'm going to do a new preview because I've made a little adjustment right here, and you really can't see a whole lot of difference. And then in order for this to apply into the image, we just have to hit apply and close. And now what we'll do is go to the layers area, click it, and we have what's called a bitmap layer that has been added as soon as we imported the bitmap. We are going to turn that layer off to see what our drawing looks like. So there are the vectors that have been created. Now you see there's some stuff outside. This was like shadowiness that by fiddling with the threshold, when it came in or went out, all we're going to do is just delete them to get them out of the way. So now let's take a look. This is probably going to be one vector. Yeah. So I'm going to click it, and let's take a look at how many nodes we have. So I'm going to hit N for node. And this is actually pretty good. There's not a whole lot of nodes in here. It has smoothed this out pretty well. There's a few areas that are kind of tight. This was like Vectric did not see this as a straight line in the shadow of the image. Let's turn the image back on. So it saw this area as a little bumpy. Same with that right there. So these are little things you'll have to doctor up. So we're going to turn the bitmap back off. I'm going to select that and basically just from the left to the right, get the nodes that I don't want and select them by holding the left mouse button down, creating a window around them. Then I'm going to hit the D button on my computer. Now you see I have a straight line. So I want to smooth those out. I'm going to grab those two and hit S. And now you see it got some curvy lines. I'm just going to grab this little flag right here and drag it around so it smooths that line out. And what we don't want, when we're doing an arc like that, our flags should all be on the outside of the curve. So we're going to like drag this one over. We'll just delete that one. Just hover over it and hit D. And we're going to delete this weird one. So we're going to D that. Now we're going to fix this little flag. And that starts to smooth things out. We got another one right there. We'll fix that. And there, now we have almost fixed it up. We probably need to drag this out just a little bit. And extend that flag. And that will round it out. So that one looks a little bit better now. And you can see we got a bumpy area right here. So I'm going to delete the nodes that are weird. Just get rid of them. I don't need them. And we got a mess right in here. So we're going to get all the screwy nodes out of the way. The ones that are twisted funny, because I don't want to mess with those so much. And we'll just turn the other ones around the way we want them. Let's get it a little closer. Looking good. Looking pretty good. And we'll get rid of a couple more. D. Now I could spend quite a bit of time fixing this up. For the sake of video length, I am not going to, because I'd bore you to death just fixing node after node after node. except for this one. I'm going to bore you with this one because it bothered me. So we'll delete that, and swing that one out, and then move it out a little bit. Not so bad. So I'm sure we've got some other areas. Actually, overall, it looks pretty good. I've got to stop doing this. I'm going to bore you like nuts. So, okay. I'm going to hit D for a minute. No, I'm not. You see, I got some black nodes in here. We don't want those. Everything in here is a curve. So a black node basically tells Vectric that it's a corner, and this will show up in your carve, and it will not look good. So when you're doing something that everything is a curve, you want to turn them all into smooth nodes. And the blue ones are smooth nodes. They are creating a curve, where the black ones are straight nodes, or they are connecting nodes to an arc. So we don't want an arc or straight line, so we want to get rid of all the black nodes. So what I'm going to do is, from the lower left corner, well, I'm going to select that so all the nodes are highlighted, and from anywhere I am going to create a window all around everything so everything turns red. They're all highlighted, and I'm going to hit the letter S, and that got rid of all the black nodes. And that's how we mess with this simple type of bitmap. Okay, so I just want to point out, you don't always want to get rid of all the black nodes, especially towards the end of maybe letters or something like that, because then you lose the sharp corner by doing that. So just be aware of what you're drawing, when you want sharp corners and when you don't. The time it becomes a real issue is when it's right in the middle of a line, where you want that line to be smooth, but then you get a little bump because the bit dove out of the part because of the black node and then it went back in. So just wanted to make that point. Black nodes are there for a reason, and they're there for corners. So when you want corners, you want to keep those black nodes. All right, let's keep going. Now there's a couple things you can do just for fun. I hit escape to get out of the node mode. If you want your swirls to change shape a little bit, you've got them in a corner, but it's taking up too much corner, you can select it again. Now you get these buttons around it, and you can pick the buttons on the side or on the top, and you can squish it down. Now we have kind of a funny looking thing. I'm going to press Control Z to undo that. Let's carve this out. Given the size of this, I would say this is about 5 inches by 5 inches based on a 24-inch project. I would use a 60-degree V-bit for this. And I want to tell you about 60-degree V-bits. I don't like the flat V-bits. All right, the ones that are on my store are not flat. They have a forward curving blade, so they slice the wood as opposed to scrape it. So if you're interested in a nice bit that's made of solid carbide, made in America, go to my website, idcwoodcraft.com. You can pick that up there. We are going to run a toolpath, so I went over there too quick. We're going to switch over by hitting this button right here, the little blue arrow. We are not going to go by pulling this little tab out from over here. I'm in the drawing mode. I want to get out of drawing mode and get into toolpath mode. These tabs will show up when you just need to do a quick fix up on something. And that's when I use it, just for a quick fix. So we're going to switch directly over to toolpath mode, and we're going to select our swirl. We're going to do this in a, we'll do it in a Vcarve. So we're going to do it in a Vcarve because we want Vectric to calculate everything based on the width of this, of the inside lines. It'll do all the calculations, so everything is kind of clean and what have you. If I used like the profile toolpath, it's not going to be clean. I have to designate, I don't know, maybe a little see, we would have to use pocketing toolpath. I'm not going to do it. I would use the Vcarve on this. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to select Vcarve. We're going to select the bit. We don't have to worry about anything up here. Just make sure the flat depth is not checked. That's for very different situations. Select your 60-degree V-bit. And mine is right there. I want to take a look at my feeds. It's set at 35, which is too slow. I fix this up and change it to 50. And I'm going to go OK. And all we're going to do is at this point is name it, swirl. And then we are going to calculate. And we're going to have a really cool little swirl. We'll preview the selected toolpath. We're going to change the color of it. So we'll just select the toolpath color button and then change it to black so it shows up a little better. And there it is. Okay, so we've taken a picture and altered it. So you can see that sometimes it looks a little more bold right here. That's because that area is wider. This one is wider than some of the other stuff, and that's why you want to fix it up. That does not look balanced because of that. Okay, so let's get into something a bit more complicated. So I'm going back to the drawing area by selecting the little blue arrow at the top. That was just like this, but would be over the toolpath area. I'm going to go to 2D, and we are going to first, let's just delete this. We don't want it anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to turn on the bitmap layer, and I'm going to delete that bitmap. And you can see there's that reflection there, so that was causing some issue. There's color tone differences throughout this, and that's why some of the imbalance happens. That's why you want a solid white background. So I'm deleting that, and I'm going to go get another bitmap. I haven't figured out what I'm going to get, but let's just figure this. I'm going to go to some pictures of, and I want to find the cactus. I have to tell you about the story about the cactus. I had a calling to go look at a cactus in Arizona. And so I quit my job and set off to see a cactus. Interestingly enough, we're going to select this picture here. But it was an interesting journey. Oh shoot, I hit the wrong button. I just want to know where that's at. So we're going to go back into Vectric. We're going to import a bitmap. We're going to go to the pictures where the cactus is, cactus and beyond. And then we're going to select that cactus picture, which was right. We'll take this one. Anyway, I just quit the job. I was done working, right? And I didn't want to work anymore, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I was going to travel west for a little while. So I took 6 months to get to the cactus, 5 months. And when I got to the cactus, right, I had this idea after I quit my job. Not an idea, it just popped in my head. Go see a cactus in Arizona, and that was it. I just said, okay, sounds stupid. It is stupid, but I'm going to do it. And for 6 months, I drove around until I got to Arizona, Saguaro National Park, and got here from a cartoon cactus image in my head. And I found myself standing in a field of tens of thousands of these monsters, right? And realized then that if you go with your dreams and you stick with it, you will get where you want to go. You'll have what you want to have. So cactus is my symbol. And if you have a cactus image around, feel free to email it to me. Okay, so I'm selecting the image and I'm going to go to trace bitmap again. I missed that. Tell you what, it's hot in Arizona in the summertime. Okay, so we are in the color mode, and this actually might work. There's a very sharp distinction between the dark area and the light area. So let's see if we can pick all that up. We may not need to do that. I'm going to try this in black and white first. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to adjust my threshold. It might pick this up. Oh yeah, I'm happy with that. That's what I'm going with. Okay, we are going to keep our noise filter. We're just going to bring it up about 50%. And I want a loose fit. And we're going to preview. Look at that. Isn't this cool? Apply and close. Turn off the bitmap. And so all we probably have to do is just do some adjustment. Watch this. I'm going to show you something. This is probably almost all one vector. I click here, it's going to go all the way around. So what I don't need is this noise in here. So I'm going to go from left to right and just grab all that and hit delete. Do that here, hit delete. Do that there, hit delete. There, delete. And we are good. We're going to do a little quick doctoring up on this. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to select that and hit node. And we're going to get rid of this little outgrowth. Just select them all and hit the D button. Got that. There's a little bit of noise through here. So we're going to do the same thing. Hit D. And we got a little crossover going on here. That's going to cause an issue. So I'm going to select all those and hit D to try to get rid of that crossover. But I want to leave some ruggedness in there, right? This is a piece of land. We don't want to, so we would probably doctor this up somehow, some way. You just work with it for a while. And then all the black nodes I want to get rid of. I'm going to grab everything and hit S. And the only ones that got messed up are the ones on the outside. But that doesn't matter to me. You see this is all one vector and it wraps all the way around. I hit escape, then I hit that, click that, and it goes all the way around. Let's just say I don't need that, right? Right now this is considered a closed vector. I don't want a closed vector. What I would be doing on the project is following a profile with a V-bit to give it that little distinction there. So basically just going to take a straight line, polyline, come into the project, and just at the very end, I'm going to select there and there, hit spacebar. I'm still in line mode. I'm just starting a new line. Go here and here, hit spacebar, hit escape, go to the scissors, and hit cut on the outside. And it's going to take a second for some odd reason, and it got rid of that whole area. I'm going to delete that line and that line. And now we have the cactus image. It's going to take some more doctoring up. That's probably a flower right there. But I'm going to get rid of those two little guys. So first I'm going to show you what this looks like. I'm going to go over to the toolpath. We're going to delete the swirl toolpath because I don't need it anymore. And I'm not doing a Vcarve on this. I'm going to be doing a profile. So I can select profile, and I'm going to do this with a V-bit. We will do it with the 60-degree V-bit. And again, remember about the 60-degree V-bit and the link down. There's a link down below to get that. Very sharp, very nice. I might even do this with a 30. But we'll leave it at that. And we're going to set our depth to a 0.03. Probably have to go deeper in this case just for the image. And we're going to just calculate. And we're going to change our material to black granite. And then we're going to change the toolpath color to white. It is already white, so we're going to run it. And it did not show up because the depth was not good enough. This is one of the limitations with Vectric. So we'll just make it a 0.3. No, that's too much. 0.1. Calculate. Run the toolpath. And the color is wrong. Color is black there. So I'm going to change it to white. There we go. And the other swirl's there, so I have to reset and run it again. There it is on black granite. So isn't that cool? Now what I can do is I can import. There's another bitmap thing, right? So I've got, you'll like this. Okay, we're going to take this a little further to give you better skills here. So you know I have one bitmap in here already, and that bitmap is the cactus. So I'm going to select that cactus, and it's selected when the full picture comes out in its full glory. I'm going to select it again, and I'm going to move it off to the side. Now what I'm going to do is go get another bitmap, but I'm going to find it. What I'm going to do is put like the Arizona state shape around this. So we will take, we'll go to Arizona map. We'll just type in Google Arizona map. It'll bring up a map. All we want is the shape outline, state outline. So I want to get something that's got a very distinct state outline. It looks like this one has it. Let's click it. Perfect. So we'll click that. We know it's Arizona by the shape. Doesn't have to be complicated. We'll save image as, and it's got a name, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go back to Vectric and import another bitmap. And we're going to go to the downloads folder. Select the Arizona state. Click it. We're going to hold the shift button down and expand it out so it covers all the cactus. There we go. And then what we're going to do is get off the state. I'm going to select the cactus line. I'm going to right click and move it to a new layer. So we're going to click move to layer, and we're going to new layer. We're going to call it cactus, because the reason we're doing this is we don't want to interfere with the state drawing. And we're going to make the cactus brown for desert color. There we go. Click OK. All right. Now we're going to go into our layers and turn the cactus off. Our layer 1 is active. That's what we want. Layer 1. So we're going to come in. We're going to select Arizona. Go back to Trace Bitmap. Go in there. Look at our bitmap. Make sure we have a solid line all the way around, which we do. And in this case, I'm going to turn the noise filter up. I want a little bit more straight line feature in this one. And I'm sorry, noise filter and corner fit. Noise filter doesn't really have to go up on this. We can leave that down. Corner fit is what I want to bring up. I'm going to preview it and apply and close. We'll turn the bitmaps back off. And basically I'm just going to select everything on the inside and get rid of it. Okay, so I can't. You can see what it has done is it has created two lines here. And what I was hoping for was that line would go all the way around the outside. I didn't get it dense enough, and here's where the issue comes in. So what I'm going to do is delete that. We're going to grab an arc. Snaps her on so I can grab that corner. I'm going to grab this area right here and just give it a curve. And then I'm going to check all the way around the state to make sure I don't have any other breaks like that. I'm looking along the outside line. And we don't. So what we're going to do now is go to our cut feature. I'm going to just go below it and hit cut. Now, it might take a moment. There we go. So now we have the state outline. I'm going to escape to get out of the cut feature. I'm just going to grab everything and delete it, unless you want to keep stuff in. I don't want the Arizona word here. I am going to retype it. And I'm grabbing everything, delete. There we go. Now we're going to turn the cactus back on. And there is our cactus. Now we're just going to select Arizona and then hit our cut feature again. Cut the cactus on each side. And now the cactus is part of that. And let's just type in Arizona. Do I want the cactus that? I'm going to Control Z, and I'm going to move the cactus down a bit because I'm going to put Arizona up top. Cut each line on the outside. That's what I want. And we're going to go into fonts or text, the first one. And I'm going to select my font. I have New Times Roman, Times New Roman. And I'm going to type in Arizona. And we'll simply take it up to size. I'm going to move it around, make sure it's going to fit where I want it at. which is right there. And that looks good, so we're going to close that. Now we're going to go back over and we're going to just run this out as a project. So I'm going to go over to Toolpaths and we're going to recalculate because we already drew up the Arizona once. I need to recalculate it because I changed the shape of the line. And one more vectors is a calculated error. What is going on? We're going to go into that. And okay, so we lost the Arizona, that's why. So we're just going to reselect Arizona. And I'm going to calculate. And there's that. We're going to reset the image and run it. Then what we're going to do is split our screens. Next thing we're going to do is carve out the Arizona in black granite. Don't use your V-bits on black granite. They can't handle it. But for this, we're going to do it. So we're going to go to the V-groove, select it, select Arizona. I'm using a 90-degree V-bit. Well, I'm going to rock and roll with that. Simply calculate it. I would normally be naming this. You always want to name it, so I'm just going to do it. Arizona, so I know it. And then it's a 90D. That tells me it's 90-degree V-bit. Select it, and then we're going to change the color to white. And we can run that one. There's Arizona, and then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to profile the state out. So I'm going to select the state. I'm going to go to the profile, the first icon. We're going to first make sure we are set on the outside. So it's going to cut out from the outside of the boundary of the state. We're going to select our bit. So we will use a 1/4 inch down cutting bit. And you can find that bit on my store as well. There's quite a few bits there for that matter. 1/8 inch down cutters, full sets, starter sets, all carbide, all American made. Surfacing bits and taper ball nose. Okay, this is a cutout. We want to go all the way through the material. So under the depth of cut, you select the whole thing and type in Z equals, and that'll give you the full depth. And I'm going to go with the bit feeds and speeds and type in Arizona cutout 14EM, which stands for 1/4 end mill. Select it, run the toolpath, and I'm going to expand that. And because the way I have my colors on my screen, it's a little bit hard to see. But there it is. That actually looks pretty cool. Let's change the color on my screen so you can see it better. I believe that's going to be under View. And give me just a moment as I find that. Maybe Edit, Options, and the background color. Choose your background color. So I'm going to pick a color. And we're going to make this a lighter color. We'll give it a, what's a more pleasant color? These aren't good colors for background. We'll do like a light brownish. Won't look so good, but we'll go with that. Okay, okay. There you go. Ah, it kind of looks good. That's the kind of Arizona flavor. Look at that. All right. So now you just learned something else. So now you know how to take some bitmaps and make this work. If you're new to CNC, you want to subscribe to this channel. If you use Vectric software or other softwares, all the principles are the same. And the design, routers, I'll teach all that stuff. I got a lot of tutorials about designing, a lot of tutorials about CNC routers, and just adding all the time. And I will definitely do one-on-one. I'd love to see a comment about this and what you think you can do. And if you've done something like this, I'd love to see pictures. You know what? This would actually be pretty cool. I might, if I could do this and sell it in Arizona, a granite plaque like this, about 2 feet tall, I think that might be a feasible item. Sell that for several $100s. Okay, well, with that, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and have yourself an amazing day. Happy CNCing.